Well, hello and welcome back once again to Bible Bytes. Today, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what I normally do, and I want to look specifically at just the very beginning of Joshua's time in ministry as it's recorded in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, and specifically 3 times that God tells Joshua to be strong and courageous. We see this 3 times over the span of just 4 verses right there in Joshua chapter 1. So we're going to be looking at that today and learning what it really means to be strong and courageous and what the outcome of that is going to be for our lives. So I hope you're excited for this. Let's get to it. All right, so like I said in that intro, today we're looking at just the be strong and courageous things that God says to Joshua. Now, this is a phrase that you might see, put on a little plaque in a Christian home or something like that. And it's something that, you might see repeated, and we might kind of lose what's the meaning and what's the context of it. And I wanted to look at Joshua 1 because it's right at the beginning of Joshua's time of leadership. Moses has died, and now it is Joshua's time to lead God's people. And so God comes and he's having this communication time with Joshua, setting him up to be the best leader he could be. And you see this term, or this phrase, be strong and courageous, 3 times in the course of just 4 verses. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read the verses for us. It's going to be Joshua 1, verses 6, 7, and 9. I'm going to read these 3 verses, and then we're going to go dive into each of these 3 times that God commands Joshua to be strong and courageous. So here we go, starting in Joshua 1, 6. Says, "Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, being careful to do according to all the law that Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." All right, so let's start breaking these down. The first one is pretty simple. It says, "Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land that I swore to their fathers to give them." God has laid out a path, a plan for his people. And he's telling Joshua as a leader, be strong and courageous so that the path, the plan that I have laid out there for these people so that it can come to fruition. And for us, that meaning has the exact same application. The path that God has for us, all the good things he has in store for us, all the good promises, the fruit in ministry, that is going to happen when we are strong and courageous and follow God in the midst of that. The next thing we see in verse 7, "Be strong and courageous, being careful to do according to all the law that Moses my servant commanded you." So this is not too long after we initially see the appearance of the 10 commandments. And all of these commandments that we see in the Old Testament, Jesus boils them all down to just 2 commandments. He says, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. And so we are told to be strong and courageous so that we can actually do just the things, the commandments that God has for us. And I think what goes hand in hand with that is to be strong and courageous so that we can avoid the sin that comes when we're not doing what God has commanded for us. Because a lot of God's commandments are actually telling us to not do something that is sin. And so to be able to do what God calls us to, it involves not doing that sin. And we're going to get that when we're following God and we're being strong and courageous in our walk. And then there's the last one, verse 9, "Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you will go." That right there is a message of hope. That is the foremost reason that we are called to be strong and courageous. And when you see that phrase, be strong and courageous, when you see it quoted, it's most often talking about this last quotation of it in verse 9. "Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you will go." And what's awesome about that is that I think that that right there is the culmination of those other two. If we are following God in the path that he has for us, following God by avoiding sin and following his commandments that he put out for our good. And then this last one is just don't be afraid, don't be dismayed. The Lord your God is with you wherever you will go. Have hope in the knowledge that God is with us in this entire process. God is with us while we are following this path that he has for us. God is with us while we are following his commandments, struggling through sin issues. He is with us in the midst of all of that. No matter where we go, God is with us and wanting to walk this path of life with us. And if there's ever a reason to be strong and courageous, it is that right there, is that you are never alone. Whether you are a believer or not yet a believer in Jesus, that is true, that God is with us. And that was the whole point of Jesus coming down to live on the earth and to be born and to eventually die on the cross so that we could have salvation and the hope of eternal life with him. We are not alone in this life when we take that step of faith, that free gift of salvation. We're going to be with God forever. And that is the best reason to be strong and courageous. So these are three principles that we see God encouraging Joshua with as he's beginning his leadership. And I think in a sense, all believers are called to be leaders. We are called to make disciples. We are called to do evangelism. Both of those things require you to take up a mantle of leadership. It might not be the most comfortable thing for you, but we are all called to be leaders in the great commission that God has given all believers. And for us to do that, that same encouragement that God gave to Joshua, God is wanting to give to us right here, right now, today. As we're getting ready to close the door on 2020 and get ready to go into 2021, I hope that every believer can pick up that mantle of leadership and say that I am going to make a difference in the world. I'm going to share my faith. I'm going to share the gospel. And I'm going to be strong and courageous because God is with me wherever I go. In the path that he has for me, while I'm following his commandments, don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed. If you enjoyed today's Bible Byte, please subscribe to our channel. We could see from our analytics that over half the people that watch our videos aren't actually subscribed. So we could double our subscribers today if everyone watching just hit that subscribe button. And what it does for you, beyond just getting all of our videos in your subscription box on YouTube, is it also gets all of the other things outside of Bible Bytes that we do. We have trainings in evangelism, discipleship, apologetics, all things that are going to help equip you to be the best leader you can be in the Great Commission for the glory of God. So subscribe to the channel, like this video if you enjoyed this content, and we'll see you on tomorrow's Bible Byte.